Hey guys, what's up? Plastic Guy here, coming back with another figure review, and today we're taking a look at this brand new Michael Myers figure from Trick or Treat Studios' brand new figure line, Scream Greats, and this is a very interesting figure. I've got a lot of thoughts on this thing. I've always wanted a 78 Michael Myers figure in the collection, and I always thought NECA would be the one to give us it. They have their Ultimate line and they release horror figures all the time. I'm a big fan. We've taken a look at a lot of them here on the channel. They've given us a Halloween 2 Michael Myers, and they've given us a Myers from every one of the latest Halloween films in the latest trilogy, but we've never gotten a Halloween 4, 5, H2O, Resurrection, or a 78 Michael Myers figure from NECA. They definitely seem to struggle to get the licensing rights for those Michael Myers likenesses, but a company that has given us all those Michael Myers figures are Trick or Treat Studios. The only problem for me is they're a lot more expensive. They're the 12-inch figures, and I'm not really a 12-inch figure collector. I did pick up the 1978 very first Halloween movie Michael Myers Trick or Treat Studios 12-inch figure because once again it is my favourite look, and I am very happy with that figure, but I really wanted a Michael Myers in the scale of the NECA Ultimate figures, capturing that 78 look. But it looks like Trick or Treat Studios beat NECA to the punch with their latest Scream Greats line. This is a brand new figure line from Trick or Treat Studios. They've got, it looks like Candyman, a lot of the clowns from Killer Clowns from Outer Space, which look really good, and of course the 78 NECA Michael Myers. And when I first came across the figure, I obviously wanted to buy it, but at the £30 price range, it's a wee bit more than £30, wee bit less than 40. We're talking the same ballpark as the NECA Ultimate figures. We get a lot less accessories with this thing, and I would argue it's more of a statue than a figure at this point. We'll get into the articulation later in the video. But for the price of a NECA figure, it didn't seem that we were really getting the same, I don't want to say quality, but the same amount of accessories, the same amount of articulation, but at the same time, that doesn't look like what this line's going for. It's not trying to copy the NECA Ultimate line. If anything, it's very reminiscent of the McFarlane movie Maniacs figures that came out back in the day, and so, yeah, this is a whole different thing. Let's not wait any longer, let's get into it. I know I've been rambling on, so let me know what you guys think of this figure down in the comments section below, and let's do what we always do and take a closer look at the packaging. So the figure itself comes in a pretty plain box, and this is once again the very first wave of this line, so I do think the packaging might change over time, but we get this big box here, pretty standard. We get the Halloween logo in the background, if you can see that there. I'm zoomed out as much as possible here, so bear with me. At the bottom, Halloween Michael Myers with a bit of a film reel. Up the top it says Series 1, and we do get Scream Greats up in that corner as well. It also says 17+, I have no idea why, maybe because it includes a knife, who knows. And then on the back we get a lovely picture of our Michael Myers figure here. Looks like we get a lot of shots from the film, which is really cool. I do wish we saw more images of the other figures in this wave. Once again, I think you get Candyman, the clowns from Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and then I want to say maybe the bad guy from Jeepers Creepers. I'm not 100%, but there are some really interesting figures in this first wave, and I'm really excited to see what other characters they take on going forward. But yeah, this is the back of the box. There's not even a write-up or anything like that. I do think the box could use with a wee bit of work, but it is fine. It is fine for the most part, especially because I'm taking this Michael out of the box. Anyway, taking a closer look at what comes with our new Scream Greats Michael Myers figure, we get this pumpkin, which is very reminiscent of the NECA Ultimate figures, but they've done a really good job here. It's very nicely sculpted, lots of wee sculpted details in there, and the paint application is excellent. There's a lot of different paints going on here, giving a really nice faded vibe, and we have a different colour on the inside, which is pretty nice. Yeah, nothing to complain about at all. I think this is a really cool looking pumpkin. I just don't think a pumpkin is a must-have accessory with these Halloween figures. It's nice that they've included it, but I would have really liked some more weaponry. I know this is 78 Michael, and there's perhaps not as many options as the latest Halloween trilogy with the NECA Ultimate figures. We were getting bloodied, smashed up fluorescent bulbs, hammers, and fireplace equipment, you know, everything Michael was using. With this figure, we've just gotten one knife and it feels pretty disappointing. I wish we got a bloodied knife, maybe different knives, I don't know. Once again, I know it's taken from the first film, but just getting one knife with Michael Myers feels a bit lackluster, you know. I do wish some more was included, but they've done a great job. It does look good, nice metal effect here, and the handles nicely painted, sculpted and everything. Nothing to complain about, I just wish there was more of this. And then we get an alternative arm. This is a first, I think, on the Plastic Guy channel. We've never gotten a full interchangeable arm. It's normally hands that we're swapping around. And I guess that takes us to the articulation part. We'll look more closely into it, but the only bits that are moving on this figure is the head sculpt, and then at the top of the arms here, there's not a single elbow joint, there's nothing in the legs, and so I feel like they could have just given us this arm already ported on the figure. I don't know how many of us are just going to be posing our Michael Myers figures with the two basic arms straight down. I think most folk would want Michael holding the knife, and so I don't really get why they even bothered giving us an interchangeable arm. I feel like this one should have just been the one that was ported on the body, and I wish we maybe just got some articulation in those arms rather than having to take a whole one off and on. Once again, I guess it takes me back to, I'm comparing this to the NECA Ultimate figures for obvious reasons. One of the most important, I think, is the price range. I know they're not trying to copy NECA, and once again it is more reminiscent of the McFarlane movie Maniacs, but I think at this price point, some basic articulation would have been appreciated, rather than giving us a full interchangeable arm that the knife can be slotted into his hand. Because once again, how many folk are going to have him posed like this? Maybe you disagree, maybe you do like the whole interchangeable arm thing, you like this more standard look where he's got his hands relaxed, you know, let me know down in the comment section. But I think they would have just been better off having either this already ported in with the same articulation, and I don't know, and just adding some more articulation on this thing in general, just for the price that we're paying. But that's that. The figure itself looks really, really good. Let's start with the head sculpt, because of course, as I said, I've always wanted a 78 Myers in the collection. I think that is the best mask. I don't think the other looks have ever really came close to capturing how great the 78 Myers looks, and of course I wanted that in figure form, and I think they have nailed it here with this head sculpt. I'm not like super into different slasher villain masks and things, so I don't know how 100% accurate this is. I know some collectors go really deep into the whole mask lore and things like that, but this looks really good to me. I think the sculpt's pretty spot on here. We can see there are different wee sculpted things in there. I'm presuming that's deliberate and that's not a mistake, but I think it looks really good. All the wee blemishes and things like that. I think this screams Halloween, and I'm really happy to have picked this up. I think they have nailed the head sculpt here. The sculpted hair looks really good. We've got some different colours flowing in and out of there. Yeah, the mask is spot on, and that is the reason I picked this figure up, and so I'm really happy with it. We then go on to like the skin tone, and I think the skin tone is a bit darker than usual from what we usually see, but I think it works really well for this figure. There's once again a lot of different colours involved in all the different parts of this figure. With the head sculpt, we can see lots of different whites, greys, even like slightly more, just different tones, you know, throughout this whole thing. It's the same with the flesh tone, same with the pumpkin and the boiler suit here. It's not just one solid blue. There was a variant of this figure that came out at, I don't know, it was a certain con, and it was a green jumpsuit variant. It looked really cool. I wish I had both side by side. That would definitely be a nice pickup, but I'm happy with this one. I think the boiler suit looks great. Once again, it looks accurate to the film from my perspective. I do like the different colours they've used in here. It does make it pop a lot more rather than just one like standard blue. We will compare this of course to some NECA figures later on in the video, but yeah, we can see more of the skin tone in the hand here, nicely sculpted. It is really good. I am really liking it. Looking at the boots, once again, I don't know how accurate these are to the movies. I don't think I've ever seen the sort of green sides in the boots there, but they've obviously pulled that from somewhere. And I think they are sculpted really nicely, painted really nicely. Maybe the green is a bit too bright, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I think this looks the part, and definitely having it sitting on your shelf, it's going to be a great addition to your collection. It's going to look like a great Michael Myers figure. It captures the look from the first film. I think my only complaint is the lack of articulation so far. Let's compare him next to some other NECA figures. And then we've got our new Trick or Treat Studios Scream Greats Michael Myers next to a couple of NECA Myers figures. We've got the 2018 Ultimate figure and the earlier Rob Zombie Michael Myers figure, which it was a bit bigger. The actor in that film was, off the top of my head, I'm sure I read he was around 7 foot. The guy playing Michael in the Rob Zombie film was huge, and so this figure is naturally bigger than a lot of the other NECA figures, but our Scream Greats Trick or Treat Studios Michael is standing around the same height as our Rob Zombie Michael, and we can see he is a bit bigger than the Ultimate 2018 Michael Myers figure. So I think overall the Scream Greats figures will scale slightly bigger than the NECA figures, but it doesn't look too bad. I think it's interesting as well that Scream Greats have captured an earlier time in action figure history. They could have went for the more ultimate feel with the articulation, the accessories and whatnot, but this thing is a lot more reminiscent to the early NECA, and with this example being the Rob Zombie Halloween figure, this thing is once again an articulated statue. We've got some movement in the head, the top of the arms. This one does have a single joint in the elbow, but then that's about it, and it's very similar to our new Trick or Treat Studios Michael. And then bringing in another couple of NECA figures for comparison, we have the original Texas Chainsaw Leatherface NECA Ultimate figure and the Part 3 Jason Ultimate NECA figure. And these are two figures that I'm actually going to be displaying this Michael Myers next to. I've got a perfect spot for these figures on the display, and I was hoping Michael Myers was going to scale a wee bit better with them. I would have thought he was probably around the same size as Part 3 Jason, but once again it does look like our Scream Greats figures are going to be slightly bigger. It's not terrible, it is slightly noticeable, it's not the worst, but yeah, there we go. And so just to show off the full range of movement on this figure, you can get the head looking left and right, it will pivot around. I did actually pop this head off because I thought you could probably port it onto a NECA figure, but the peg's actually attached to the head rather than the neck, and I wonder if that was a deliberate decision, because majority of the figures that I have in the collection anyway, the peg's always coming from the neck, and they went for the decision to put the peg in the head sculpt. So it could probably be done, but you would need a lot of modification. I think it's an interesting move from Trick or Treat Studios, and once again I wonder if that was deliberate. But you can get the head moving about that far up, it will go about that far down, and yeah, once again left right it will pivot around. After popping the head off, the joint is a lot more loose, so do beware with that. When you're popping the head off, it does seem to be not as stiff as it was beforehand. Then it's just the arms moving up and around. That is the... oh, it moves out the way. I didn't even realise it moved out the way. Okay, there we go. The arm moves about that far out, that far in at the body, up and down and around. I do wish we just had like single jointed articulation in these limbs. I don't think that would have been much to ask for. The wrist will move around a wee bit. Once again, I don't know why they didn't just give us an alternative hand and then include the articulation here rather than a full alternative arm. Same articulation in this arm here, and that's it. The feet don't move, nothing in the legs. Yeah, articulated statue. And so there we have it for our brand new Trick or Treat Studios Scream Greats 1978 Michael Myers figure. And I do like it. I think it's really good. I think it's really nicely sculpted, and I think the paint is excellent. Do I think it's worth the price? Not really. I don't think it's worth £35 when you can get a NECA Ultimate figure for that with all the accessories, the range of movement. I think that's way more worth your while. I would probably be a lot more comfortable spending around £20 to £28 for this. Once again, it's a really nice piece. Sculpting's excellent, painting's there, but I don't know, maybe I'm a bit biased because I am more of a figure collector. I have maybe 1 or 2 statues here in the collection, and I feel like this is branded more to be a figure, and I'm just not getting that vibe from it at all. Yeah, very limited with what you can do here in terms of articulation and accessories. And so if you know that going into it, then you're all good. It's just, I think that price point is a bit sticky when you're comparing it to the rest of the figures out there in the market. But there's no denying that this is a solid Michael Myers piece. And so, yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section below. While you're down there, guys, if you could do me a massive favour and hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, then please hit that subscribe button. I'll leave the link to my Instagram in the description below. It'd mean a lot if you could hop on over there and check out any of my pictures that I'm uploading at the moment. I'll definitely be putting Michael Myers up there. And there's some more Michael Myers content to come as well, because I've got loads left over from Halloween. It'd be awesome if you could check out the YouTube page as well. There are loads of figure reviews, all sorts over there, so it'd be awesome. And thank you so much for watching this video right here. It means a lot. So thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I'll catch you on the flip-flop later. Cheers.